The metal bars were cold against Hyenwoo's back as he sat on the hard floor of his prison cell. 3 months had passed since the Kethran soldiers captured him. 3 long months of eating bad food, sleeping on stone, and watching aliens die. Around him, Hyenwoo was human. He came from Earth, a small blue planet far away from this horrible place. The Kethrons had caught him when his ship broke down near their space. He was supposed to be a peaceful engineer, fixing broken machines and helping people. But the Kethrons did not care. They only saw another prisoner for their collection. The prison planet was called Valdra 7. It was a dark, cold world with no sun. The sky was always gray, and the air tasted like metal. Thousands of aliens from different worlds lived here in tiny cells, waiting to die. Some had been here for years. Others, like Hyenwoo, were still new. In the cell next to him lived Ji-hai, a young Korean woman. She was only 19 years old, with short black hair and scared eyes. The Kethrons had taken her from a passenger ship 6 months ago. She was traveling to see her family when the aliens attacked her transport. Now she was here, just like him. Hyenwoo, Ji-hai whispered through the bars between their cells. "Are you awake?" "Yes," he said quietly. The guards did not like it when prisoners talked too much. "Can't sleep?" "No. I keep thinking about home." Her voice was sad. "Do you think we will ever see Earth again?" Hyenwoo did not answer right away. He wanted to tell her yes, that everything would be okay. But he had learned not to lie in this place. Hope was dangerous here. It only made the pain worse. "I don't know," he said finally, "but we are still alive." That means something. In the cell across from them sat Daeho, an older Korean man with gray hair and strong hands. He used to be a soldier many years ago, then became a space trader. The Kethrons caught his trading ship and killed his crew. Only Daeho lived, and sometimes he wished he had died with his friends. Daeho never talked much, but he watched everything. He studied the guards, counted their steps, remembered their schedules. Hyenwoo thought the old soldier was planning something, but he never asked. Some things were better left unsaid. Down the long hallway were more cells with more prisoners. There was Nara, a blue-skinned alien from the Valkonian system. She used to be a healer, helping sick people get better. Her forearms were thin now from not eating enough food. Her large eyes always looked sad. Tae-min was in cell number 47. He was a young Korean pilot, only 22 years old. His crime was flying supplies to planets fighting the Kethrons. The enemy soldiers cut off 2 of his fingers to make sure he could never fly again. But Taemin still moved his hands like he was controlling a ship, practicing in his cell when he thought no one was watching. Near the end of the block was Kung Soo, Korean scientist who created computer programs. He was very smart and could fix almost any machine. The Kethrons wanted him to work for them, to build weapons. When he said no, they threw him in prison. His glasses were broken, and he could not see very well anymore. The guards were tall, gray-skinned aliens with yellow eyes and sharp teeth. They walked on 2 legs like humans, but their hands had long claws. They wore black armor and carried energy weapons that could kill with 1 shot. Their leader was called Captain Morkeg, a mean alien who enjoyed hurting prisoners. Every morning, the guards brought thin soup and hard bread. Every evening, they brought water that tasted bad and small pieces of meat that might not be meat. At all, the prisoners ate it anyway because they had no choice. Hungry people cannot be picky. The days were all the same. Wake up when the lights turned on. Eat bad food. Sit in the cell. Watch other prisoners get sick or die. Try not to think about home. Try not to remember better times. Try not to hope. But this morning was different. Captain Morkeg walked down the hallway with 6 other guards. His yellow eyes looked excited, like a hunter who found easy prey. Behind him walked a tall alien in a red uniform. This was someone important, someone with power. The alien in red stopped in front of the cells. He looked at each prisoner carefully, like he was choosing fruit at a market. When his eyes met Hien Wu's, the human felt cold inside. "These will do," the red alien said in a voice like breaking glass. "All prisoners in Block C will be ready tomorrow." "Ready for what?" Ji Hai whispered, but no one answered. Captain Morkag smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Attention, prisoners. Tomorrow at dawn, you will all be taken to the great arena. There. You will die in front of cameras so all the galaxy can watch. Your deaths will show everyone what happens to those who fight the Kethran Empire." The hallway became very quiet. Some prisoners started crying. Others just stared at the floor. Nara's blue face turned almost white. Taman stopped moving his hands. But Ji Hai did something strange. Instead of crying or looking scared, she watched the guards carefully. She noticed how they stood, how they moved, how they looked at different prisoners. She was young, but she was not stupid. Most of all, she noticed how the guards looked at Hien Wu. It was not the same way they looked at other prisoners. There was something else in their yellow eyes when they stared at the human. Not just hate or anger, but something that looked almost like ... fear. Why would the guards be afraid of one human prisoner? Hien Wu was not big or strong. He did not have weapons or special powers. He was just an engineer who fixed broken things. But Ji Hai remembered stories her grandmother told her about humans. Stories about how humans never gave up, never stopped. Fighting never left their friends behind. Maybe these stories were more than just tales for children. As the guards walked away, laughing about tomorrow's executions, Ji Hai made a decision. She would watch Hien Wu more carefully. She would learn why the aliens feared him. Tomorrow, they would all die. But tonight, she would discover the truth about the human in the cell next to hers. The lights went out, leaving the prisoners in darkness. But for the first time in months, Ji Hai did not feel completely hopeless. Something was different about the human. Something the guards knew, but the prisoners did not. She would find out what it was. The night was long and cold. Most prisoners could not sleep because they knew tomorrow would be their last day. Some cried quietly. Others prayed to gods from distant worlds. A few just stared at the ceiling, waiting for morning to come. But Ji Hai was not crying or praying. She was watching. She pressed her face against the cold metal bars and looked at Hien Wu in the next cell. He sat with his back straight, eyes closed, breathing slowly. He looked calm, like a man getting ready for a normal day instead of his death. "Hien Wu," she whispered as quietly as she could. He opened his eyes and turned to look at her. Even in the darkness, she could see he was not afraid. This made her curious. "Why are you not scared?" she asked. Hien Wu was quiet for a moment. Then he moved closer to the bars between their cells. "Who says I'm not scared? You look calm. Everyone else is crying or shaking. But you look like you are thinking about something." "I am thinking," he said, "about how to get out of here." Ji Hai blinked in surprise. "Get out? But that's impossible. No one escapes from Valdra 7. That's what they want us to think." Hien Wu's voice was very soft. "Ji Hai, I need to tell you something, but you must promise to keep it secret." "What secret?" "Promise first." Ji Hai nodded. "I promise." Hien Wu looked around to make sure no guards were listening. Then he spoke. In a voice so quiet, she had to lean close to hear him. "I'm not just an engineer. I used to work for the Earth Defense Force. I was a soldier before I fixed machines. A soldier." Ji Hai's eyes grew wide. "Yes, and I've met Kethrans before. I know how they think, how they fight. More important, I know what they fear. What do they fear? Humans. Haiyan-Wu's words made Ji-hai feel strange inside. We have a reputation in this part of the galaxy. Other aliens think we're crazy. Crazy. Why? Because we never give up. Other species in the galaxy knows when they are beaten. They surrender, they accept death, they stop fighting. But humans, ... We keep trying even when there's no hope. We break out of prisons that should be impossible to escape. We win battles we should lose. We save people we should leave behind. Ji-hai thought about this. Is that why the guards look at you differently? Haiyan-Wu smiled. She was smart, this young woman. You noticed that too? Yes. They look at you like you might do something dangerous. Because? I might. From across the hallway, Daeho's voice came through the darkness. I can hear you both. And you're right about the guards. They're nervous around you. Human. Daeho. Ji-ho was surprised. The old soldier rarely spoke. I've been watching them for months, Daeho said. They count the human twice every day. Other prisoners, they count once, but they always make sure the human is still in his cell. Why didn't you say anything before? Haiyan-Wu asked. Because I wanted to see what you would do. Now I know. Planning something for tomorrow. What kind of plan? This was Taemin's voice from down the hall. The young pilot had been listening to. Not so loud, Haiyan-Wu warned. If the guards hear us, ... The guards are asleep, said Kung-Su from his cell. I've been watching their schedules. They change shifts in 2 hours. We have time to talk. You've all been watching, Ji-hai realized. But no one talked about it. We were afraid, Nara said softly. Her blue face appeared at her cell bars. Afraid to hope. Hope hurts when it dies. Then don't hope, Haiyan-Wu said. Just listen and decide if you want to live or die tomorrow. The prisoners became very quiet. They all moved closer to their cell bars so they could hear better. The Kethrons think they have the perfect prison. Haiyan-Wu began. They think no one can escape because the planet has no ships, no weapons, no way to call for help. They're right about most species, but they don't understand humans. What don't they understand? Daeho asked. That we don't need ships or weapons. To be dangerous, we just need each other. I don't understand, Ji-hai said. Every human who ever escaped from a Kethron prison did it the same way. Not with guns or ships, but with teamwork. We help each other. We don't leave anyone behind. Other species think this makes us weak, but it makes us strong. You think we can all escape tomorrow? Taemin sounded hopeful, but afraid. I think we can try, but only if we work together. All of us, humans and aliens. Kethrons would never expect that, Kung-Su said. They think different species can't work together. Exactly. Haiyan-Wu's voice was getting stronger. They'll be watching me because they know humans are dangerous. But they won't be watching you carefully. They think you're just scared prisoners, waiting to die. What would we need to do? Nara asked. Each of you has skills they took you for. Taemin, you're a pilot. Kung-Su, you understand computers. Daeho, you're a soldier. Nara, you're a healer. And Ji-hai, ... What about me? I'm just a normal person. You're the one who noticed the guards acting strange. You see things others miss? That's a very important skill. Ji-hai felt warm inside. No one had ever said she was good at anything special. But even if we escape ourselves, how do we get off the planet? Daeho asked. The execution tomorrow is public. They want the whole galaxy to watch us die. That means ships, cameras, communication equipment. Everything we need will be in one place. The great arena, Taemin whispered. Yes, and they'll be so busy with their show, they won't expect us to fight back. This is crazy, Nara said. But she didn't sound like she thought it was a bad idea. It's crazy is what humans do best, Hyan Wu said. The question is, do you want to die on your knees tomorrow, or do you want to fight? The prisoners were quiet for a long time. Each one was thinking about home, about the people they loved, about the chance to see them again. Finally, Daeho spoke. I'm too old to die on my knees. I want to fly again, Taemin said. I want to heal people again, Nara added. I want to build things that help instead of hurt, Kungsu said. Everyone looked at Jihai. She was the youngest, the most afraid. But when she spoke, her voice was strong. I want to go home, and I want to help you get home too. Then we have a deal, Hyan Wu said. Tomorrow, we don't just die, we fight. What's the plan? Daeho asked. I'll tell you in the morning. For now, try to sleep. Tomorrow will be the hardest day of our lives. As the prisoners settled back into their cells, Jihai felt something she had not felt in months. She felt hope. Not the painful kind that hurts when it dies, but the strong kind that makes you want to live. The human had given them all something to fight for. Tomorrow, they would find out if hope was enough. The morning came too fast. Gray light filled the prison cells as the lights turned on with a loud buzz. Jihai woke up with her heart beating fast. Today was the day they would either escape or die. Everyone ready? Hyan Wu whispered from his cell. As ready as we can be, Daeho answered. The guards came earlier than usual. Captain Morkeg walked in front with 12 soldiers behind him. They wore extra armor today and carried bigger weapons. The captain's yellow eyes looked excited. Time to go, prisoners, he shouted. Today you become famous. The whole galaxy will watch you die. The guards opened each cell one by one. They put heavy metal chains on every prisoner's hands and feet. The chains were connected together so no one could run far without dragging the others. Jihai felt the cold metal around her wrists. The chains were heavy and made it hard to walk. But Hyan Wu had told them this would happen. Stay close together, he had said. The chains will help us, not hurt us. She did not understand how chains could help. But she trusted the human. They walked through long hallways filled with more guards. Hundreds of prisoners from other blocks were also being moved. Jihai saw aliens she had never seen before, some with fur, some with scales, some that looked like giant insects. All of them looked scared, but she also noticed something else. Many of the guards kept looking at Hyan Wu. They tried to hide it, but she could see their yellow eyes always coming back to the human. Some guards even stepped back when he walked past them. The great arena was huge. It was built like an old Roman Colosseum, but 10 times bigger. Thousands of alien spectators filled the seats, all come to watch the execution. Giant screens showed the arena to the whole galaxy. Camera drones flew overhead like metal birds. In the center of the arena was a raised platform made of black stone. On the platform stood execution machines, tall metal devices with sharp blades and energy weapons. Each machine was designed to kill in a different, horrible way. General Vexstar stood on a balcony high above the arena floor. He was the most important Kethran on the planet. He wore a uniform covered in medals and carried a staff that showed his power. Next to him sat other important Kethrans in fancy clothes, but Jihai noticed something that made her look twice. There was a small figure sitting near the general. 'Twas a Kethran child, maybe 8 or 9 years old. The little girl had the same gray skin and yellow eyes as the adults, but she looked different somehow. Less mean, more curious. The prisoners were pushed onto the platform in the center of the arena. The crowd cheered when they saw them. Some aliens threw things at the prisoners. Others just watched and waited for the killing to begin. General Vexstar raised his staff, and the crowd became quiet. Citizens of the Kethran Empire. His voice boomed through speakers around the arena. Today we show what happens to those who fight against us. These prisoners thought they could resist our power. Now they will learn the price of their foolishness." The crowd cheered again. The sound was so loud it hurt Jihai's ears. "We will execute them one by one," the general continued. "Each prisoner will watch their friends die before their own turn comes. This will break their spirit and show the galaxy that resistance is useless." "That's their plan," Haiyan-Wu whispered to the others. "They want to make us afraid before we die. But fear can also make people desperate, and desperate people do dangerous things." The first prisoner was brought forward. It was an alien with blue fur and 4 arms. Jihai did not know his name or what planet he came from. She watched as the guards pushed him toward one of the execution machines. The alien begged for his life. He promised to serve the Kethrans if they let him live. But the guards just laughed and activated the machine. In seconds, it was over. The crowd cheered louder. "This is horrible," Nara whispered. Her blue face was pale with fear. "Don't watch," Haiyan-Wu said quietly. "Look at the guards instead. Count them. Look for weaknesses." One by one, more prisoners were executed. Each death was different and terrible. The Kethrans had designed it this way to break the spirit of those still waiting. But Jihai was not watching the executions. She was watching the little Kethran girl on the balcony. The child was not cheering like the adults. Instead, she looked sad and scared. Sometimes she covered her eyes when the killing got too bad. The girl was also doing something strange. She kept staring at Haiyan-Wu, not with hate or fear like the guards, but with something that looked like recognition. "Haiyan-Wu," Jihai whispered. "The little girl up there. She keeps looking at you." Haiyan-Wu glanced up at the balcony. When he saw the child, his face changed. His eyes went wide with surprise. "What is it?" Daeho asked. "I know that." Child Haiyan-Wu said very quietly. "But it's impossible. She can't be here." "What do you mean you know her?" Before Haiyan-Wu could answer, Captain Morkeg called out, "Next prisoner," the old human soldier. They were calling Daeho. The old man stood up straight and walked toward the execution machine with his head high. He would not beg or cry. He was a soldier. But as the guards pushed Daeho forward, something unexpected happened. The little Kethran girl stood up on the balcony. She was looking directly at Haiyan-Wu now, and her yellow eyes were very wide. "Wait," Haiyan-Wu whispered to himself. "She's not looking at Daeho. She's looking at me. She remembers." "Remembers what?" Jihai asked. The execution machine powered up with a loud humming sound. Daeho stood in front of it, ready to die. The crowd held its breath, waiting for the killing to begin. But then the little girl did something that changed everything. She jumped up from her seat and pointed directly at Haiyan-Wu. Her small voice was high and clear, cutting through the noise of the crowd. "Papa, Papa, stop!" She shouted in the Kethran language. "That's the human who saved me." The arena became completely silent. Every alien in the crowd turned to look at the pointing child. General Vextar's face went from proud to confused to shocked in just a few seconds. "What did she say?" the general demanded. The little girl ran to the edge of the balcony, still pointing at Haiyan-Wu. Tears were running down her gray cheeks. "That human," she cried. "He saved me on the space station. He saved all the children. You cannot kill him." "General." Vextar looked down at Haiyan-Wu with new eyes. The human was staring back at the child, and now he was remembering too. "Kira," Haiyan-Wu said quietly. "Little Kira from the Nexus station." The general heard his daughter's name spoken by the human prisoner. His yellow eyes grew wide with understanding and shock. The crowd was confused and starting to talk loudly. The guards looked at each other, not sure what to do. The execution machine was still humming, ready to kill Daeho. But everyone had forgotten about the old soldier. General Vexstar raised his staff for silence. When the arena became quiet again, his voice was different. Not angry anymore, but uncertain. "Stop." "The execution," he commanded. Captain Morkeg looked confused. "Sir? But the schedule, ... I said, "Stop it." The general shouted. The execution machine powered down. Deho stepped back from it, live but confused. All eyes in the arena were on General Vexstar and his daughter Kira. The little girl was still crying and pointing at Haiyan-Wu. 2 years ago, the general said slowly, there was an attack on Nexus Station. My daughter was there with her mother on a diplomatic mission. The station was damaged and many people were trapped. He looked down at Haiyan-Wu. "You were there too, weren't you, human?" Haiyan-Wu stood up as much as his chains would let him. "Yes, I was there. Tell me what happened." The whole galaxy was watching through the cameras. Millions of aliens waited to hear what the human would say. Haiyan-Wu's voice was clear and strong. The station's life support failed in Section 7. There were children trapped there, human children, Kethran children, children from many worlds. I helped get them out. "You saved my daughter's life," General Vexter said. "I saved all the children I could find. It didn't matter what species they were." The arena was so quiet you could hear the wind blowing. The general's face showed many emotions: confusion, anger, surprise, and something else. Something that might have been respect. His daughter Kira was still crying, but now she was smiling too. "You sang to us," she called down to Haiyan-Wu. "You sang Earth songs to keep us calm while we waited for rescue." Haiyan-Wu smiled for the first time in months. "You remembered. I never forgot." General Vexstar stood at the edge of his balcony, looking down at the human who had saved his child. The execution was stopped, but what would happen next? The whole galaxy was watching, waiting to see what the powerful Kethran leader would do. General Vexstar stood on his balcony, staring down at Haiyan-Wu. The whole arena waited in silence. Millions of aliens across the galaxy watched through their screens, wondering what would happen next. "Guards," the general said, in a voice that carried across the arena, "bring the human to me." Captain Morkeg looked confused. "Sir, should we execute him first?" "No. Bring him up here, now." The guards unlocked Haiyan-Wu's chains and surrounded him with weapons. They pushed him toward a lift that would take him to the general's balcony. As he walked, Ji-Hai caught his eye. "Be careful," she whispered. Haiyan-Wu nodded. He disappeared into the lift with 6 guards. The arena crowd was getting restless. They had come to watch executions, not conversations. Some aliens started shouting for the killings to continue. Others wanted to know what was happening. On the balcony, General Vexstar waited with his daughter Kira. The little girl was still crying, but she looked hopeful now. When the lift doors opened and Haiyan-Wu stepped out, she almost ran to him. "Stay back, Kira," her father warned. But the child did not listen. She walked up to Haiyan-Wu and looked at him with her big yellow eyes. "You do remember me," she said in simple English. "I knew you would." "Hello, Kira," Haiyan-Wu said gently. "You've grown taller." Papa Kira turned to her father. "This is the human I told you about, the one who sang to us when we were scared." General Vexstar studied Haiyan-Wu's face. "Tell me about that day. Tell me everything." "There's not much to tell," Haiyan-Wu said. "The station was hit by weapons fire. Section 7 lost power and air. When I got there, I found 23 children trapped in a schoolroom. The door was locked and they couldn't get out." "What did you do?" "I broke down the door. Then I helped them get to the escape pods." "That's not all," Kira said. "Tell him about the scary parts." Haiyan-Wu looked at the little girl, then back at her father. The hallways were full of smoke. Some children were too scared to move. Others were hurt. I had to carry them. You carried Catherine children? General Vexter asked. His voice sounded strange. I carried whoever needed help. Human children, Catherine children, Velconian children. They were all just scared kids. Kira nodded. He sang Earth songs to make us feel better. He told us stories about his planet while we waited for the rescue ships. Why? The general asked. We were at war. Catherine forces had just attacked that station. You knew some of those children belonged to your enemies. Why save them? Hyan Wu was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his words were simple but strong, because they were children. Children don't start wars. They don't choose to hate. They just want to be safe and go home to their families. The general's face showed no emotion, but Ji-hai could see his hands shaking slightly. Down in the arena, she watched everything through the big screens. You could have left the Catherine children behind, General Vextar said. You could have saved only the human ones. No one would have blamed you. I would have blamed me. Even though we were your enemies, especially because you were our enemies. Anyone can save their friends. But saving your enemies' children, that's what makes you human. Kira stepped closer to Hyan Wu. Can I hug him, Papa? Please. The general looked at his daughter, then at the human, then at the thousands of aliens watching them. His decision here would change everything. Yes, he said quietly. You can hug him. Kira wrapped her small arms around Hyan Wu's waist. The human gently patted her head, just like he had done 2 years ago on the space station. The crowd in the arena saw this on the big screens. Some aliens cheered. Others looked angry. Many just seemed confused. Sir, Captain Morkeg spoke into his radio. What are your orders? Should we continue the executions? General Vextar heard the question through his own radio. He looked down at the arena, where the other prisoners still waited on the platform. Daeho, Ji-hai, Tamin, Kyangsu, and Nara all looked up at him, hoping. Papa, Kira said, still holding on to Hyan Wu. If he saved me, and he saved all those other children, is he really a bad person? No, little star. He is not a bad person. Then, why are you going to kill him? The general did not answer right away. This was the hardest question anyone had ever asked him. Because, he said slowly, sometimes good people end up on different sides of a war. But if he's good, and you're good, why are you fighting? General Vextar knelt down so he was eye level with his daughter. That's a very hard question, Kira. I think, she said in her small voice, maybe adults make things too hard. Maybe. It's simple. Good people should help each other, not hurt each other. The general looked at his daughter, then at Hyan Wu, then down at the arena full of prisoners and spectators. He thought about his orders from the high command. He thought about his duty as a Kethron officer. He thought about what would happen if he showed mercy. But mostly, he thought about his daughter's words. An aide came running onto the balcony. General, High Command is calling. They want to know why the execution stopped. Tell them. The general paused. Tell them there has been a complication. What kind of complication, sir? The kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew. Down in the arena, another Kethron officer was getting impatient. Colonel Drexmar commanded the prison guards and reported directly to High Command. He grabbed a microphone. General Vextar. His voice boomed across the arena. High Command demands that you continue the executions immediately. You are making us look weak in front of the galaxy. The crowd cheered in agreement. They wanted blood. General Vextar stood up and walked to the edge of his balcony. When he spoke, his voice was clear and strong. These prisoners were captured in battle, he announced. By the laws of war, they should be treated with respect. They are rebels and terrorists. Colonel Drexmar shouted back. High Command has ordered their deaths. High Command is not here. I am, and I say, these executions will not continue. The arena exploded with noise. Some aliens cheered. Others booed. Many just argued with each other. Colonel Drexmar's face turned dark with anger. You forget yourself, General. I have orders to ensure these executions happen. With or without your help. Are you threatening me, Colonel? I am reminding you of your duty to the Empire. General Vextar looked down at his daughter, who was still holding Hyanwu's hand. Then he made a decision that would change his life. Forever, my first duty, he said, is to my conscience. He turned to the guards on his balcony. Release the prisoners. All of them, sir. The guards looked confused. You heard me? Release them. Colonel Drexmar pulled out his weapon. I cannot allow this, General. You leave me no choice. No, General Vextar said calmly. You always have a choice. The question is whether you choose to be a soldier or a murderer. The arena held its breath. 2 Kethran officers faced each other, one choosing mercy, the other choosing duty. Between them stood a human who had saved children, and a little girl who remembered kindness. The whole galaxy watched and waited to see what would happen next. Colonel Drexmar pointed his weapon at General Vextar. The arena became dead silent. Even the camera drones stopped moving, floating in the air like metal statues. General, the colonel said coldly, step away from the human. Right. You are not thinking. Clearly, I am thinking more clearly than I have in years. General Vextar replied. He did not move away from Hyanwu and Kira. High Command will not accept this. You know what happens to officers who disobey orders. Yes, I know. Down in the arena, Ji-Hai watched the screens with her heart pounding. The other prisoners stood frozen, afraid to move or speak. The guards around them looked confused, waiting for orders. Captain Morkeg spoke into his radio. Colonel, what are your instructions? Should we continue with the executions? Yes, Colonel Drexmar answered without taking his eyes off the general. Kill them all, starting with the old soldier. No, General Vextar shouted. I am still in command here. Any more, the colonel said. He activated his weapon. Toe, you have betrayed the Empire. Guards, arrest General Vextar for treason. But something unexpected happened. The guards on the balcony did not move. They looked at each other, then at their general, then at little Kira holding the human's hand. We are waiting for orders. Sir, one guard said to General Vextar. Colonel Drexmar's face turned red with anger. I am giving you orders. Arrest him. Sir, the guard said politely, General Vextar is our commanding officer. We take orders from him. He is a traitor. He is our general, another guard said, and he saved our families on Kepler Station last year. We trust him. The colonel realized his plan was falling apart. He spoke into his radio to the guards in the arena guards, execute all prisoners immediately. That is a direct order from High Command. Captain Morkeg looked up at the balcony, then at the prisoners, then at his own soldiers. You heard the colonel. Prepare the execution machines. Before the guards could move, Deho did something that surprised everyone. The old soldier stepped forward and spoke in a loud, clear voice. I am Deho, former sergeant of the Korean Defense Corps. I have fought in 12 battles and never ran from a fight. But today, I do not fight for myself. I fight for the idea that children should not watch their parents become murderers. His words carried across the arena. Many aliens in the crowd had children of their own. They looked at little Kira on the balcony, still holding the human's hand, and something changed in their faces. I also have something to say, Taemin called. Out. I am a pilot. I have flown through enemy fire to bring medicine to sick children on war planets. If you kill me today, those children will die tomorrow. Is that the galaxy you want to build? Nara spoke next. I am a healer. I have saved the lives of Kethrin's soldiers who were hurt in battle. I did not ask which side they fought for. I only asked if they wanted to live. Kyung-soo adjusted his broken glasses. I am a scientist. I build machines to help people grow food and clean water. If you kill me, planets will go hungry. Finally, Ji-hai found her courage. Her voice was small but strong. I am nobody special. I was just going home to see my family. But I learned something in this prison. I learned that hope is stronger than fear. And I learned that humans never give up, not just on themselves, but on anyone who needs help. The arena crowd was murmuring now. These were not the words of terrorists and rebels. These were the words of people who helped others. On the balcony, Kira looked up at her father with tears in her yellow eyes. "Papa," she whispered, "are you going to let them kill the good people?" General Vextar looked at his daughter, then at Hyenwoo, then down at the other prisoners. He made his choice. "Guards," he said loudly, "release all prisoners immediately. Any soldier who harms them will answer to me personally, sir." Captain Morkeg called up. "Colonel Drexmar ordered us to execute them. Colonel Drexmar is not." "Your commanding officer?" "I am, and I order you to stand down." The arena guards looked at each other. Some started to lower their weapons. Others kept them raised, unsure what to do. Colonel Drexmar saw his control slipping away. In desperation, he aimed his weapon at Kira. "If you will not follow orders," he said to the general, "then perhaps your daughter will convince you." But he never got the chance to fire. Hyenwoo moved faster than anyone expected, pushing Kira behind him and grabbing the colonel's arm. The weapon fired into the air. The two aliens struggled for control of the gun. Hyenwoo was smaller and weaker, but he fought with the desperate strength of someone protecting a child. General Vextar pulled out his own weapon and pointed it at the colonel. "Release him, now. You would choose a human over your own people." Colonel Drexmar snarled, "I choose what is right over what is easy." The colonel looked around the balcony. Every guard had their weapons pointed at him now. He was alone. "This is not over," he said, dropping his gun. "High Command will send an entire fleet to destroy this planet." "Maybe," General Vextar said. "But that is tomorrow's problem. Today, I choose to be someone my daughter can be proud of." He spoke into his radio with a voice that reached every guard in the arena. "All units, this is General Vextar. Release the prisoners. Provide them with food, water, and medical care. Prepare transport ships to take them wherever they want to go." "Sir," Captain Morkeg said, "where will they go?" "Most of their home planets are in the war zone." General Vextar looked at Hyenwoo, who was kneeling next to Kira, making sure she was not hurt. "I think," the general said, "it is time for me to see what this human planet called Earth looks like, Papa." Kira looked confused. "Are we leaving?" "Yes, little star. We are going to help these people get home. And maybe, if we are very lucky, they will help us find a new home too." The arena erupted in chaos. Some aliens cheered, others booed. Many just left, confused and angry about what they had seen. But down on the arena floor, something beautiful was happening. The guards were unlocking the prisoners' chains. Daeho stood straight and proud. Taemin flexed his hands, dreaming of flying again. Nara smiled for the first time in months. Kyung-soo cleaned his glasses, ready to see the future clearly. And Ji-hai looked up at the balcony where Hyenwoo was still protecting Little Kira. She realized that everything had changed because one human had chosen to save children who were not his own people. 3 days later, a small fleet of ships left Valdra 7. General Vexstar had kept his word. He provided fast ships, supplies, and safe passage to neutral space. On the lead ship, Ji-hai stood on the bridge next to Taemin, who was piloting them toward freedom. Behind them, Daeho helped Nara take care of other freed prisoners. Kung-soo worked on the ship's computers, making them run better, and in the ship's common area, Hyunwoo sat with little Kira, teaching her English words while her father planned their new life away from the Empire. "Why did you really save us?" Ji-hai asked Hyunwoo when she found him alone later. "Because that's what humans do," he said simply. "We save each other and anyone else who needs saving, even our enemies, especially our enemies. That's the only way wars really end." Ji-hai smiled. "Where are we going now?" "Wherever we can do the most good." Outside the ship's windows, the stars looked different now. They looked like home. Word of what happened at Valdra 7 spread across the galaxy faster than the ships could travel. On 100 worlds, people heard the story of the human who saved enemy children and the general who chose conscience over duty. Some planets began questioning the war. Others opened secret talks about peace. Many simply remembered that there were still good people in the galaxy. Even in the darkest times, the little girl's simple words, "That's the human who saved me," had started something that no army could stop. Hope was spreading across the stars.